Test, test, test.
I'm sorry.
Sorry for the false reporting.
Yeah. Good morning, everybody. Today is Tuesday, January 13th, 2026. This is the South Kingstown Assessment Board of Review Tax Appeal hearing. First order is roll call. The gentleman to my right, is he here?
Present.
Ken Monroe is here. David Bott is here. The gentleman to my left,
Yeah, I'm present as well.
Brad is here. And the lady to my left, is she here? Yes. Yes, okay, so we have everybody is here. Next item of business is approval of minutes from December 4th, 2025. I just skimmed through them. I make a motion that we approve the minutes as presented. Does anybody have a second or any comments?
I second.
Any comments?
No.
Okay, hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, motion passes. Minutes from the December 4th meeting have been approved. Next item of business is appeal number 18. Under new business, we have appeal number 18. Gregory Co and Kathleen, are they here?
Okay,
It'll light up in red.
all right.
Wendy, I don't know that I have an appeal form for this one, and I might have just lost it.
Nope, that was my bad. Give me 2 minutes. Let me just make a photocopy here.
I have
Or
a-
I can actually pass this down.
I just to skim the rationale
You're
while
not
we.
wrong.
Yeah, no, what I have is I have like the before and after, because I know this has gone through a couple of iterations, but I don't actually.
That is correct. Let me make a copy of the original appeal form. I apologize, I don't have a copy right now. If we just break for like 1 minute, I'll make a couple copies.
Sure,
I appreciate it.
thank you. I had so many files, I thought
probably
maybe I
have
just
it,
lost
too.
it.
Is this the original one you want that I filled out the very beginning? Oh, okay. Oh, I don't know. Got
If
so
I could
many
have a copy
papers here.
also, that, Wendy or Liz, that would be great.
She's just going to run through the entire appeal packet with your appeal and some of the information that you submitted with it. So she's just going to make some copies and we'll be right back out.
Okay.
We're going to give that a few minutes and wait till we have everything. We're not going to skip over this.
Appreciate it. While we're waiting on that, on Liz to make appeal number 18, and you're right, we've been back and forth, so I apologize, but the old business appeal number 41, 62, 63, 42, 44, 47, and 43, do we all have what we need for the old business? Do we have all of our old? Okay.
I do. I spent about an hour on my kitchen room floor going through all of the paperwork that's been submitted over the past few months, and I was like sorting it all. So I have, I believe, everything. So
If we need anything,
I can
we've got a
share-
copier right there, so just let me know. I know we've, this was a good idea to put them all on one agenda. We'll leave it at that.
I think I have everything too. Unfortunately or fortunately, I didn't spend the time that you spent, Brad.
I was dreaming about this last night. I was just thinking about brandy
So
wine
would I.
all night because trying to do my homework for this one.
Same, Okay, so you need 42, 44, 47, and 43. You know what? No, it's all good. That's why I'm like, while we're waiting, all right, let me go make those for you. No, don't apologize. It's the beginning of the year. There's a lot going on.
Yeah.
Hold on.
See, we're going to be going by this order, so we're not going to be in sequence, actually.
Right.
All right, everybody should have their packets, and I apologize.
Is everybody all set here?
Good to go.
In the board?
Okay. Yes.
Ready, set, go?
I think we are ready.
Okay, I'm appeal number 18, Kathleen Coe. This is the third meeting that I've attended. I'm just going to go through my quick thing first. In February, I received a $761,100 assessment. On 7/29, I put in an appeal 7/18. It was reduced to 6/22/9. And I understand there was a mistake, which we all make. So now, as of 10/28, I'm now at 668,200, which happens to be the lowest assessment in my neighborhood for my style home. I have not been very happy looking through this Vision Solutions, because also on my last paper that they got, under the notes, they had 10/20/24 sale. I have not had a sale of my property since I've lived there. I believe it could be my neighbor's, and it says 3.5 baths per MLS. So that was under notes. If you look on this last sheet where it said, they sent me that said after.
I saw that as well, actually, when I was researching. Is that just a typo?
It's an error.
Can we?
We can
Okay,
delete
well, like
it.
I
out
just
of
said,
there?
I thought maybe that's why they screwed up my whole thing. I don't know. I couldn't figure out why that was on there. And I said my assessment kept going down too, because when I looked at the visions, they had me for too many bathrooms, a basement finish. So I understand, you know, somebody says it's all COVID, whatever. That caused a lot of problems. And yes, my neighborhood speaks to each other, so we all know what's going on. 4 of the appeals, number 62, number 63, I'm sorry, 62, 42, 44, and 47 are exactly like my house. There's no difference. And their numbers are all different.
Could you repeat the appeal numbers?
So appeal 62, 42, 44, 47, and some of those people are in Florida, so they couldn't be here today. No
Yeah.
basement finished, all 2.5 baths. So they're like, well, why am I 680 something and you're 668? They were all new, they are all original, all except for one are all original owners.
And are these, so you're speaking on their behalf right now, or are you speaking to your appeal? Just because it's like,
I know,
I'm
I
just trying to
understand.
keep this straight
Okay,
for my own.
I'm only speaking to my appeal, because I wondered why my appeal is what it is, and theirs is another $15,000, $17,000 more. And they're wondering too.
And I have to say, I went through all the appeals last night, and I could figure out everything in the appeals, and there was one glaring issue, and it was your assessment is too low based on the others. And that is because you have 13% depreciation applied, and all of your neighbors have 12% depreciation. If we raised her assessment by decreasing depreciation of 12%, everything would line up and make sense. So we have, like, this is the one that is making everything irregular.
Okay, and like I said, we did put that spreadsheet together, I think you got that, for all the 2-story, the 21 homes that are all have the same square footage.
It's this paper with the boxes. I know there's
It's
so
the
much
paper with the boxes.
When you first came today, it was what was in front of the microphone before the packets that you probably had in your hand. So it looks like this, yep. And it's stamped received January 6th. It looks like,
These are just showing the 3 plans that we have, and of the 2-story units, I'm in the first group of 21 2-story units, all with 1942 square feet. I am not thinking about basements because, yes, people in our neighborhood have redone their basement, and I'm not sure if you put a wall up in your basement, does that mean you have a finished basement? I'm not really clear as to, do you have to have heat down there? Is somebody living down there? What makes a finished basement added onto your taxes or your assessment?
We don't handle that. That has to do with vision and the town. We don't make that determination. It's not something we're charged with.
Okay, well, I'm just trying, that's what I see here is some differences but as you can see the numbers that are on this sheet. And in some of them, they're quite a big difference in all of these homes. We have 11 who have 3 full baths on just their first 2 levels that I know of, and they range from $775, which does have a basement done, which I know of, to $669. And I just wondered, is it worth, 90? Whatever, I'm not even doing my math here. But is it worth that much difference to have a finished basement? $775, $669. That's $106,000 more because you have a finished basement. I must be gold down there. These are just
And
the
again,
questions.
we have no
Okay.
idea. We have no idea. So I can only speak to your specific appeal.
All right, and I agree with what you were saying about my assessment is still too low. Only because everybody else is 683, 682. I mean, I knew when the 622 came in that was wrong. The 668, I was like, oh, then so everybody else should be close to that. But then I realized that I'm still 20,000 below some of the other people.
Yeah, I was also, trying to line them up as well to notice discrepancies, So you mentioned Appeal 44 and 47. That is it's 59 Brandywine and 115 Brandywine. They're assessed for the same, 682, 200 each. So they're in line with each other.
Right.
Appeal 62, which is 47 Brandywine, I believe there's an impact from hardwood and carpet that's on the field card. I'm just going based on what's in the assessor. The assessor has that as hardwood and carpet, and the others as ceramic, clay, tile, and hardwood. So there's
You
a
have
difference
ceramic
in
tile, right?
there's a difference in building materials there. That is why, in the case of 47, that is like a $6,000 difference. And then for 42, what I have under 42, with this Appeal 42, this 25 Brandywine, it looks like it's just differences in the deck size.
No.
And also this issue with porch open fin. I don't know exactly what that is, but that's, so in each case, there's just slight differences between each unit as presented on the field card. If there are errors on the field card, then that should be resolved. I don't know that we're going to be able to resolve these things right now.
No, just so you know, you are the president, so I'm sure you're going to get all the questions. So heavy is the head that the crown wears. But anyway, I had mentioned to those that did appeal, because not everyone did appeal, that after I realized the second or third Brandywine appeal, that's when I went, wait, what's going on? I went back to your original appeal and realized I had made an error, corrected it, and then we were getting more and more appeals. I was willing to just look and see it with a fresh, clean slate, and I didn't really think the FOP I apologize. They were coded as an open porch finished and an FOP, and I corrected them to a wood deck. Now, regardless if it's wood or composite, we're not chasing decks in this town for value necessarily. So they are rated low, and I'm not looking to change that anytime soon. So what I decided to do was change all of the FOPs, regardless if they appealed or not, for year end. I corrected them to WDK, which is a wood deck. It's rated lower, and I believe it came out to a $7 or $8 abatement roughly. So some people did get the correction of that, and I was more than happy to fix it, and it was minor. So anyone who didn't appeal, we're still in the process of correcting that. So people may see me change that, and so all of Brandywine, that will be corrected, but that's outside of an appeal. That's just something I noticed
Correct.
that I
Right.
wouldn't have noticed otherwise. So other than that, individually, we're all tasked here with who appealed, and I think that's what Brad's trying to
And
say.
just
We
like-
can correct and talk about things afterwards that are outside of the purview of the board.
So I noticed, though, that some of the decks are 192 square feet and others are 232. Is that just?
Well, you know why it is, because sometimes they separated the front deck and the back deck as separate on some of but it still came out to 232 feet when
This
you
is-
added both together.
This is
So-
what happens when vision, just like here, you've got 3 different assessors, they're going to do 3 different things, but they're probably going to get to the same place at the end. So certain data entry people will put all of it in one, and then you've got another person who separates it. So tomato, but the end goal, like she's saying, is the same. So that's just, that happens.
Okay, and so the question about whether or not you have a finished basement or not, who answers that question? Like, what makes something a finished basement?
I'm going to kick that over to our deputy. I know, but she's the one that really goes out there and will establish whether it's finished or not.
So a finished basement would be a basement that has walls put up that are finished, but they're drywalled. No one plasters much anymore today. It's or plastered. There is a floor, a finished floor. And that's pretty much it. If it's a room that you can move furniture in, you can live in, you can use as a living space, whether it's a rec room, TV room for the kids, playroom for the kids, office, that would be considered a finished basement. It would
Okay.
have to be finished living space. It's not like, walls that are just framed, like just framing.
Right.
That wouldn't be considered finished.
Okay, and, I mean, if they're still working on their cement floor down there, and they have not put any covering on the floor.
Right, it would need an inspection, because nowadays people do, you can do a cement concrete floor that's got,
Right, I know they can do a
they can make it
finish
look
on that.
really pretty, and it's
Yeah.
considered finished.
Okay, well, that was my question, is because somebody said, well, so-and-so has a finished basement, and this one has a finished basement, and and if a permit wasn't pulled, I'm not getting into that. I'm just looking at living space, that we all should be treated the same with the living space. So, then my 668.2 should be done again. I mean, the problem with this is that now my taxes, I pay, then I don't owe, and then I pay. Today I just paid more on my taxes. I know this doesn't have anything to do with you, but then my fire tax was reduced, so now I owe more to them. It's just the confusion, I guess, of all this, and everybody's going through something like
Yeah,
that.
we relate, and it seems like, to me, just big picture, is the confusion over this one unit then spun out, and now we're hearing 8 different appeals, and we're just swamped with information. And I think in your case, it looks like you should be assessed the same as number 47, which is identical to yours, that you should be assessed at
47 is identical to mine.
that you should be assessed at 675,800 based on the information I'm seeing. So I agree with you there, that and it is unfortunate. Obviously, mistakes it's confusing to me, and I can see how when you make one change in one place, it leads to other changes elsewhere, and then it just throws everything out of whack. But that is the one inconsistency, I think, is that 47 at 47 and 103 should be the same. So that is an inconsistency. It's the only inconsistency out of all the materials I've seen.
I'm just going to say 42 is exactly like mine, too.
42, on the field card it's different. There's differences between yours and 42 on the field card, which explains the differences in
I
assessment.
mean, that's the second buyer in the home, but that should not make any difference to what the house is valued, correct? At this point.
To the assessor, there's different materials. The assessor has different flooring in the field card for Dr. DeSano. I believe it's Dr. DeSano and Mrs.
Right, I know.
DeSano's unit.
It's exactly the same as my house. I mean, Okay,
Well, that's, so, assessor, there's now new information regarding Unit 425. Can we correct the flooring in Unit, I mean, I don't know, like, we can go on
I
and
know,
on
I know.
with
This is the problem when I started, and I went on Vision and looked at each place, and I'm thinking, okay, some people have tile, a little piece in their kitchen. I mean, and the rest is all
Yeah.
hardwood. So
Right.
I just wanted equity for all, that's all.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I don't know.
And I know you guys have heard this over and over again, and so I'm just,
The hard thing for me, because the one message that we're hearing from this group is that there should be equity, they're all identical, they should be the same. And once we start acknowledging that, then I start hearing, but I have hardwoods and they have carpet, I have a finished basement and they have an unfinished. So then we start hearing about all the individual differences between the units. And so, you know, I don't know how to establish what we should be doing if we're supposed to be treating them as identical when there are actual differences between the units. And I mean, it's inevitable after 12 years or 13 years in existence that there's going to be subtle differences between the units. So I don't know how we can resolve. This is field work that we don't do. This
Correct.
is assessor's office field work.
And the reality is that the people who have appealed, if they would like us to go in and do a field inspection, and we can check everything out, I mean, we can do that. You know, I can't go to every Brandywine.
Can Ms. Coe recommend an inspection of another unit based on a
No, it has to
discrepancy?
come from the owner of the unit. So
Okay.
each owner, if they want to call and say, you know, we'd like an inspection, we can do the best we can. We're 4 people in an office, you know, so there's only so many hours in a day. And the difference between a carpet floor and a hardwood floor is not a huge difference in assessed value. But to get everybody exactly the same is going to take, I mean, it's not like a quick fix.
right,
I
like
mean,
I said, I wasn't looking, I didn't think.
and
that
then,
they'd be-
and then they need to realize that once we're in there, we're in there.
Oh,
You know what
I
mean?
understand.
So-
And am I also correct in that they would have to ask you to come in?
Correct. I can't just.
You can't just go knock on the door and
No.
say, I'd like to look, and they can say, sorry, no.
Yes, I mean, it's America.
Right, I understand that, I understand that.
So
Oh,
if
okay.
anybody who's appealed, who would like me to come in and take a look at their property and do a field inspection, I'd be more than happy to do that. It will take a little bit of time, and if you work with me, we can get them done. And then for the year end for the next fiscal, when you get your bills in July, we will do the best we can to accommodate that.
But in reality, though, I mean, looking over the information I have on the units that we've got in front of us, on an undepreciated price per square foot, they range from like $392 a square foot to $396 a square foot. They're remarkably close, and those differences are mostly attributable to differences in finished materials, or in a couple cases, there's 3 baths and not 2.5, or there's 3.5 baths, that kind of thing. So
We
they're
asked her-
actually quite close, even though there's differences of a couple $1,000s here and there.
Just so everyone is aware, a hat that the assessor's office wears and throughout the state, I don't think there's one assessor who, when you have a problem, it's like, is this reasonable? We couldn't possibly match penny to, I mean, I guess we could, but we would need a staff at 80, right? I mean, like Jen said, we do the best we can with the resources that we have. So we try to accommodate as much as we can, but also from my perspective as an assessor, it's like, is it worth it? You know, and I don't want to invalue or invalidate anybody or any resident, right? We're always going to do what we can, and historically, our office has always gone above and beyond, which is the expectation of the residents. So with that being said, we do deliver. So I apologize that, you know, some people may want more or less, but we do have a big town. We've got a lot going on. So collectively, I've got to manage that, which is why we didn't go do interior inspections. It's a statistical, it's not a reval year. We've got, for my perspective, yes, it's an issue we should discuss, and I'm more than willing, like with Jen, to work with you separately from outside the appeal to do that. But we've got to pick our battles, and for the assessor world, this is reasonable, so it's not a problem for the town. Is
So
what I'm
where
saying.
does Vision Solutions get its information?
Well, they're licensed appraisers, MLS. I forget the short term for MLS.
Yeah, no, that's all I'm saying. I just wondered because I just saw so many
They
mistakes.
get it from the market. This is
in-
all market sales. There
Okay.
were 2 sales in Brandywine, and that's
In-
important to note. There were 2 sales in 2024, and I
Correct.
apologize. I'll fix your card. We'll take that off. The 2 sales were 85 Brandywine.
And 109.
You got it, which was a FUS and FBM, so that had a finished upper story and a finished basement, that sale. So that sale was probably a higher sale. It came in at 700,000. We have them assessed at 700, 100. And then the other sale was 109 Brandywine,
Yes.
and 109 was just a finished upper story, no finished basement. But that
Yeah,
sale went for
I'm not-
770.
Okay, but I'm not going to rat out my neighbor, but I
No.
thought that 109, if you look at the price, it sold for 770. It has a complete finished basement.
So again, this is a discovery.
And I know
There-
these
there-
are
there-
things,
so
and I know that,
But if I can't see it, it's.
If you get an MLS listing that shows a
Yes.
finished basement,
Then we
so I would
so if
suggest
you
that you
looked at their
review.
MLS, you would see that theirs, that's why I thought that note on mine, 1024, was when they moved in and bought the house. So I think that 3.5 bathroom MLS was made.
I'll be honest with you, because for anyone else watching too, I want this to be on record. There's challenges that everyone has.
I
And we've had
understand.
challenges in our own office. I just want to let you know, for that statistical, we didn't have full staff. And normally, the process for when we do deed reviews, right? So when a sale comes through, we have a deed and we cross-reference it with Zillow, Realtor, MLS, all these things. So when we pick up, if that's our the point where we can basically get it. If we don't do that activity, how would we possibly know if there's a finished basement, right?
Oh, I
So if
understand
there's
that.
someone in that position that can do that, but sometimes it gets missed, which is why the beauty of appeals every year, right? That's how we catch things, which is why we're here now. So had someone been in that role and we were cross-referencing, we would have picked that finished basement up. And I can't tell you how many times we've done it. In the 5.5 years I've been here, we put the finished basement on. They go, "How did you know?" And we go, the pictures
Right.
are up on Realtor.
Yeah, right. Well,
But
that's what I
there
said.
is a
And-
process for it.
Okay.
But in between turnover, sometimes, it's a big
Right.
town.
And like I
things
said, I'm
happen.
not
I
here
just
to
want you
rat
know,
anybody
we're not going out of our
out,
way to
but I
not
just,
pick that up.
right, and I just thought maybe all my numbers that came up so high were actually her house, because I used to own that house at one time too. But, yeah, so, sorry for the confusion. here,
Okay,
but-
That's all right.
So-
It's been our precedent that we try to limit everything for 10 minutes per,
Oh, I know. So
we've already
I'm
been over
done.
20 minutes, so I'm just letting that be known. So exactly, are you looking to raise your assessment? I mean, I guess, where are we going here?
Well, in myself feel that if everyone else is in 680, that's where I should have been. And when I put in my first appeal way back, that's what I asked for. I should be at 684 or 3, whatever my,
You
when I
said
did my-
684.5.
I think, yeah, when I put in my neighbors who were the same, they were 684.5. Okay, that's what I put in. Some were 683, I picked 684.5. Because why wouldn't people say, well, why are you so low and I'm this price? That's what started coming out, because, as I said, we have a very close neighborhood and everybody's looking out for each other. Right, Alice?
Yeah, and I think the explanation for, and I don't know if you can answer it, but I just noticed that all of the ones that were built in 2012 have a 12% depreciation factor. And in this case, it's 13%, so this is a 1% difference that you're getting like a little 1% benefit of the doubt. Somehow, I'm guessing just because of the kind of the confusions, I'm trying to correct the confusion.
It's a technical table thing. If a number falls, you'll see it on the building sub area. That 1% does factor in. Although I'll be honest with you, this for me, I have like a folder with I wonder what's going on with that, but I've got other things going on, right? So eventually, I will look into why are there 3 of the units at 13%? Because you've got 2011, 2 units in 2011 at 13, which is fine.
What
But you're
numbers, what numbers were 2011?
If you look at 15 and 21 Brandywine, and their values are spot on alike, 676, 800. Same square footage, I mean, those two.
Okay, 21,
It's highlighted in green. It's the Narragansett 11 style. If you,
okay.
If you
Yeah,
look
those
under
were the two,
location.
those two are the models. Isn't that 15 and 21? Those were the 2
Oh,
models
see,
that were built,
okay.
so they've been there longer.
Yeah, so I don't know why you're
But
getting
they're
that
much-
13, and I'm curious as to why, but I don't have an answer today, and it
Okay,
may
'cause
or
I
may
was
not
built- I moved
change.
in 2012, so mine was built in I know mine was built in 2012.
Yeah, so I have to call Vision. That may be where when I have to do it. You wouldn't believe the amount of research that would is going to go
Oh,
into
I'm
something
sure.
like
I
that.
mean, I've been going over
But
numbers
it's a
and
question,
vision
and
and-
I didn't notice that really until I had the spreadsheet, and I was like, what is going on there? So I don't know. It's just your one unit. So I'll look into that, and I'll have an answer for you offline as to why that is. But it's very minor, in assessment world. But we'll figure it out.
Okay.
No, yeah, and I think that, because I know what's going to come up in other appeals that we've got in front of us, 15 and 21, because they were built in 2011, it's just, the assessment calculation is 1 year older than the ones that were built in 2012, and so those assessments are going to be, or should be slightly lower, other than, because in your case, you've already kind of been given that extra
Yeah.
benefit. But I think, so, when we look at those, like, if they're assessed a little bit lower, it's just because they're technically a tiny bit older. And these ones have other factors going on too, but I know that I think that they were cited in Ms. Melchiori's case, as well as problematic assessments. So just for the sake of conversation moving forward.
All right. Well, I'm fine if, I think my number is too low. Couldn't imagine somebody saying that. I mean, my son's going to kill me because he said, Mom, keep your mouth shut and just go
I've
ahead.
been on the board for
But-
13 years. I've never heard anyone come forward and say their assessment's good. I don't think
Well,
that's ever
It's a
happened.
beautiful day for me.
I want to be equal. My neighbors all have a certain amount, so I thought I should. So then I thought everybody's going to be really dropping because of me, and then it didn't happen. So just don't put me at 700, okay? I mean,
I guess I'm kind of glad I made an error. I'd be more than happy to go through it from A to Z with where we started. If you'd like now or offline, you tell me what you would like to
yeah,
do
well, maybe
about
I could talk to you later
Okay.
about that. But, so I don't know if I confuse anybody anymore, and if my friends who are here, I don't know what else, they may not even have, are you going to say anything? Right, it's just that now my taxes will be screwed up again. But in the end, it'll come out. They'll catch me, I know they will, so.
Yeah. And
Okay.
even the folks that finish basement, I hate to use the you can run but you can't hide. Eventually that it's going to hit the books. It's just a matter of timing.
Yeah, and like I said, I'm not here to rat anybody out. I just want, we just want to be fair. So I'll be fair and say, if you have to up me, so put me down as the first person who ever said that. Or else bring everybody else down. Or bring everybody else down. That's the choice. So I think Okay, thank you.
Yeah, and I think that what we're all going for is to try to work towards accuracy. I know the assessor's office is committed to that, and we want to just try to make sure that what we see in front of us is accurate. So we're all kind of moving in the same
Right,
in the
I
same
get it.
direction. And I think that a piece of what's happening is that people should, when they get their assessment, they should kind of understand what goes into it and why it might be different from their neighbors. And so there's a piece of this is just about working it through so people kind of understand what's going on. And I think that, that's been a part of these conversations that we've been having, so.
I do plan on for our next season, because I'm seeing, I've been here a few years and just researching what other states, what other towns do to educate the residents on all of it. How do I appeal? What do I give you for information? You know, it's intimidating, and I don't want it to be. So we are working between now and the next tax bill. The state of Rhode Island has put out a new appeal form. We haven't even seen it yet collectively as assessors in the state, so I figured if we're going to do a new form and we're revamping it, let's just do the whole thing. So we do plan on handing out packets to residents with their appeal form on, you know, what's a comp, you know, what do we need to, you know, prove your case and things like that. So we're working as much as we can to really educate folks on this process, because you can't almost, I've been a homeowner before and I've gone through this process where you don't even know until it's like too late, and I've been there. So just something random for everyone to look forward to for the next coming years here.
Right, and I mean, looking at where we were assessed before, we've doubled our price. I mean, I'm not complaining about that at all, but, yeah, it's the way life has happened right now, and the price of homes, so, okay, I'm done.
Any other questions from the board members? Okay, we'll discuss it further in the very near future today. All right, so that was new business. We have old business, and I want a clarification. We closed the public hearing when we had this meeting with the old business. I guess my question is a technical one. Is this going to be a public hearing type meeting where we're going to be hearing from the appellants or the applicants, or are we going to be discussing this as a board? It was my understanding, I thought we had closed everything and we were going to be discussing this as a board at this meeting.
Yeah, right now, everything other than appeal number 18, collectively, Brandywine is under old business. So from my understanding from the last meeting, correct me if I'm wrong, but it's not under the number 6 item board discussion decision. So if anyone wanted to speak, now would be the time. If not, I would go ahead and close it and then move on to 6 to approve, you know, do your thing. Does that make sense? Did I say that right?
All right. So what you're saying is let anybody that's here today, they want to speak, they can.
Yep,
All right,
and then I
okay.
would close that out and
Yeah,
then
all right.
move on.
All right, so that's what we're going to do. We've got, you know, everybody who's here today, if you want to come up and speak, that's fine. Again, you know, we give 10 minutes, so I think we're going to make sure that we try to keep it at 10 minutes because we've already heard this, and a lot of this stuff's repeat. So the clock's ticking at 10 minutes, and number 41, Gary Layers. You going to come up? Yes? Liz?
Before Gary speaks, I would just close out your new business and then he
all
can
right.
hit the mic.
Okay, so we have, we just finished up new business. I make a motion that we close out all of our new business. Do we have a second?
Second.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed, motion passes. Okay, now we have old business, and I just explained that we're going to give the people that are here today an opportunity to chat, and then we'll close out old business once we've heard everybody. So, yes, number 41 is at the desk. Please proceed.
Good morning, Happy New Year. Something was just said there that caught my attention, and that was that 109 is assessed at $700,100. No?
We have it at 683,100.
109. Oh,
85 is 700,100.
Collins is 700, but
okay. Okay.
683.
Okay. Well, in my case, it's simply the value of the basement. Because I had my basement done initially, it's inflated, and I think it's like 137,000 that it's assessed at now. And and the building permit was 14.5. I know, but we paid 18,000 for it. That's because our unit was 305, and then we paid 18,000 for that. So our total payment was 323 when we moved in, in 2013. So I just think that number's a little high. So the fact that Kathy's is coming up, then ours could go down, and the town won't lose money. No, that's all. It's as simple as that. Ours is carpeted, 800 square feet. We have heat down there. We have air conditioning down there because it's tied to our system, because it was original build. So, do you have any questions? Do you need anything more from me?
I mean, I always am just thinking it through. I just, on the topic of basements, so like every unit has an assessment for basement, right? And if it's an unfinished basement in the
Yeah.
development, it's like contributes around $90,000. And so, and yours contributes $170,000. So it's like basically there's a delta, but like you get, portion of the assessment is attributed to basement, whether it's finished or not, and then there's like a premium applied
Sure.
for the finished basement. So yeah, it looks like in your case, there's maybe about a $70,000, $80,000 difference for the finished basement. In your case, I noticed that there were additional bathrooms noted on the field card. Is there a bathroom in the basement?
Yes.
All
Yeah,
right.
we have 3.5 bathrooms in our house.
Right. So and one of those bathrooms is.
I'm a believer of a
basement.
bathroom on every floor.
And I think the only other thing I noticed on the field cards is that in your case, there, like, I think 872 square feet is considered finished. So
Yes.
it looks like about roughly two-thirds of your basement.
That's right.
And the other one that's coming up, I don't know if DiMichele is here, but that one has, I think, about 400 square feet. So at least as the assessor has it, it's a smaller finished area in that unit,
Yeah.
which would explain, I guess, the differences. But I mean, we can talk about it in the decision phase. But I noticed the basement issue.
Yeah. So, okay. So, we talked about it in December, and since we got invited back again, I thought I'd mention it again. All right. Thanks a lot. Appreciate it.
They are not present. They are diverting to Kathleen as a president if she needed to speak on their behalf.
Okay. Anybody going to speak on that, on their behalf? No?
All Mr. DeMichael asked me is, he's assessed at $700,100. That is the price he paid for the house, and he wanted to know why his assessment is the same as the price that he bought the house for in 2024. He does have some walls up in his basement. I don't know if I'd call them finished because it was a slap job. I shouldn't say that. But he just wanted to know why. He's next door to me in the buildings, and why am I $30,000 less than he is? That is for his basement, which is really something he'd like to finish, but he does not consider it finished now. But I'm going to tell him, if you got walls up, guess what?
Yeah, I think in his the difference is his basement, which a portion of about a third or less than a third is
Right,
considered finished on the field card. I think my suggestion would be, because I don't believe we have any evidence that was given to us about his basement, but my suggestion would be to talk to the assessor's office about the finished basement and have them look at it. I think the assessor can resolve that. If the basement isn't finished or it's low-grade finish, that might be something that the assessor can look at.
Right, he won't be back until May or June. He's in Florida now, so
When he
I mean, the other thing he
returns-
could have done is he could have brought photographs of his basement to us and submitted that as evidence, and we could have given consideration to
Okay.
if it really is about the level of finish in his basement. But that's the difference.
And I know I can talk to him about having photos done because he has someone checking his house. And they could send me those. I know he sent you something, right, Wendy, saying that he wasn't gonna, he would be away and,
Yes, I actually printed that email out. I don't know if you want to read it into the record, Chairman Bod. I could pass this down. Thank you.
I'll read this into the record.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Yeah, this is from Anthony D. Michelle. It's dated Sunday, December 28th, 2025. It's to Wendy Duarte. It says, Wendy, FYI, I will be unable to be in attendance at this hearing. Kathy Coe, president of the Brandywine HOA, has agreed to represent me. Thank you, thank you to you and your staff for all your assistance. Tony D. Michelle. Sent from my iPhone. That's it. A question to staff. So, I mean, we're going through all of these, like, minute details here. I mean, can you folks, like, look at all this stuff and figure it out, and then we're not, like, having to go through all of this sitting here today? That's where that's where I think that's where we should be going with this. But I'm just trying to get people's,
The town's
thought
already
process.
responded to the appeals, so at this point, for due process, we're out, right? So it's
It's already
between
past,
the
it's
board.
already past that point in the,
You got
the
it.
road.
Now, like Jen and I have said, we're not cold-hearted. We want to be reasonable as well. Even within a process, we still will go above and beyond. And I'm more than welcome to meet with the president of the group and have a meeting. You come into my office and we'll just.
Oh, I understand if it's on our agenda, we have to keep it on our agenda, but I
Yeah.
guess my question is, can you folks take care of some of this stuff?
Well, what do you mean, like, take care of some of this stuff?
Well, I mean, all of
It
this
needs
stuff
to be
that we're
clear.
talking about today, like, is this basement 400 square feet or 800 square feet of finished space, and,
Check the MLS
Yeah,
and see the pictures
you know,
and that type of stuff.
yeah.
Like 109 and 85, we're gonna go back and look at the
Okay,
MLS.
okay.
I mean, I can't go through every Brandywine condo and.
You have to keep in mind, this was a statistical reval based on
I-
market.
I
We're not
understand, yeah.
going to
Based
go
on
and
market
do things we would
sales.
do in a full reval.
Correct. The full reval, when it comes, then all this will be addressed at a much more finer detail.
Okay.
But there's, at this point,
I'm just not sure what we're doing here.
right.
This
it-
has nothing
it's-
to do with
It's
what we do.
reasonable.
Yeah, we can't, if
Yeah,
if
I
we're
mean-
given evidence of something, we can look at it. But we're
Yes.
just,
And I'm looking, by the way, just to Ken's point, I'm looking at the application that was submitted by Mr. DeMichael, and there's no information submitted. The basement isn't even mentioned in his appeal. So I don't think we can, just as a matter of due process, we can't really act on his appeal. And if there's an issue, I mean, the next step, I think, would be to work with the assessor's office first and then come back for another appeal based on the basement if needed. But I don't think that we've been given any information about.
And I just want to also, you bring up a good point, Mr. Hebner, that this happens a lot where people, like I mentioned, we're going to get better at giving proactive information packets in the beginning so people know how to handle it. A lot of time they'll appeal, they don't know why, they just don't like the assessment, and they don't have the tools to handle it at that point, and then maybe through the process of sitting in the audience or other things, they get more educated, and then they're like, oh yeah, and they'll pivot to another argument that was not given to me as the assessor. I didn't respond to it, and now the board, they're like, so that happens, and I think that is happening. So we really have to go back to redirecting, what are we doing here today? We're here strictly for administrative purposes. I'm just here to make sure things are met, we've got the mics on, and
Exactly.
we're doing dialogue, and the motions are correct, and we're strictly just administrators today.
And I'm passing a lot over to
The original appeal's
you.
already been responded, me as the assessor, she is not even, of course I'm here, but I'm not here in due process land. That's already been done. So the process next is the board's gonna look at the appeal. Did you provide evidence? And you may have a point, but if you don't have it for them, that you gotta give them the tools to like help them help you. And then if that isn't happening, well, then you have next season. There's always next season in assessment world and in baseball.
Right, so in this case for us, this is essentially a trial, and someone has to present evidence that their assessment is wrong, and if they don't present the evidence, then it's hard to make a decision in their favor. In this case, even though I understand through the process, the applicant, the person making the appeal has learned where there might be a discrepancy, but I think we're limited in this case just based on the formalities of the hearing. But it does seem like we've at least zoomed in on the basement is a potential thing for them to look at. And maybe over time, it can be clarified either in their office or again at this table next year.
Okay, thank you. The next one is number 42, Joseph DeSano. They did send a letter, you said? Oh, they did not? Do we need to have an official letter from the owner for them to,
If they're not present, you can make a decision based on what you have in front of you today. You're very kind and as a board collectively, and which is why you table people and you give them a chance, and
okay, yeah.
that's up to you.
I mean, I don't think we're gonna hear anything new, right? So why don't we pass on number 42? Number 44. Cheryl Nee. Hello.
If you just hit the little people button on the right. Beautiful.
Okay. I understand you guys work very hard. I can see that with a very limited staff. I know you up at the table there are volunteers, and I appreciate all that. I'm basically just looking for parity, and as the discussion has gone on, I can see how difficult that is for you. So many thoughts have crossed my mind. I don't have any hardened facts here other than what I've already presented, but it just seems that it's not right that people who put a lot of extra money into their units and don't pull permits are valued the same as my unit and others that have done nothing, basically. And that is just the unfairness of it. I'm not saying that you can fix that. I don't know how it can be fixed. But truly, as Kathy said, we are a very close neighborhood. We all know what's going on, who's done what, and so on and so on. And that's basically it. I'm just looking for parity for all of us.
Okay, and I know what's going round and round, but all we can do is if you have an issue with your assessment,
I
you bring it to
understand.
us. This other stuff has nothing whatsoever to do with us, and this is our third meeting about this, and there's nothing we can do to help you with this. If you have an issue with your assessment, we're here to listen to it.
Okay, so what
But your
I'm
neighbors
getting...
were not. So I'm just finding this very frustrating because
Oh.
we constantly are asking us to do something we're not capable of doing.
Okay.
So if you have an issue with your assessment, we're here to listen to it. Other than that, there's nothing we can do.
Okay, so what my next step would be to have the assessor come in and do an interior inspection? Yes? Is that correct?
Can I see her appeal? I just want to look at the basis of your appeal, if you don't mind. I can't answer that just yet. Give me 2 seconds.
I gave this some thought since the last meeting because it's hard. It's 40 properties in the development.
Right.
If there are people doing inappropriate things, if there are illegal improvements being made, it's just I think what Ken is expressing is that it's hard for us to, when we obviously aren't in a position, and I don't even think the assessor's office is in a position to really police that. If there are scofflaws, if you have scofflaw neighbors, if it's a development full of people that are not taking the appropriate legal steps to make improvements, that it's hard for us to have a remedy for that unless, for example, some of the, like, if you uncover it, if there's MLS listings that show improvements, then that can be used to,
Right.
and I think there's a couple of cases have been raised where there looks like there's evidence of additional improvements that aren't on the field card for neighbors, so perhaps through this process, a light is being shown, on some of these cases where there are neighbors that are assessed for the same as you, but have superior
Right.
interior improvements. It's hard because I know they don't have X-ray vision, to fix that.
Right.
And my hope as like an ethical person is that in time, fairness will kind of, like, stuff comes out in the wash. But I'm a person that values, I'm a real estate appraiser. I want, unbiased, factual fairness across the board. And so I have empathy for this situation, especially in a development where, and we don't see this very much other than for condos where the units are very similar on the outside. We live in most neighborhoods in South Kingstown, all the houses are a little bit different. They were all built hundreds of years ago. So we don't see this come up very much, but when it does, it's cases like this where you have a row of units that are the same and we're trying to figure out if there's
Exactly.
discrepancies in the assessments, like why are there differences in the assessments? Or in this case, if the assessments are similar, but the units are actually different, like how do we work that out? So, I understand the sense of unfairness. In your case, I do see, I don't have all 40 units in front of me, but there's one other appeal, Barrett, number 115, that looks the same as yours, and and you are assessed at the same level. So you're not alone. Most of the people that came for these appeals are in a similar boat. They're assessed between 675 and 685 roughly in the group that we've seen, and that's pretty consistent across the development. And but yeah, I understand what you're saying about what's going on there, and I also hope that, because I believe in truth and I believe in accuracy, that this will eventually come to light.
Well, thank you. I appreciate your ethics, and I would not make an improvement without pulling a permit. So, yeah, I guess it's, thank you.
Thank you very much. We have number 47, Elizabeth Barrett.
I'm here for her too, but she did not send a letter, but asked me to speak, and she would say just what Cheryl said. Her house is just like mine. So,
Okay. So I'm assuming that's all you're going to say.
In this case, because I have her appeal in front of me, most of these cases are just mentioning your process.
course.
So their evidence
That's-
is,
I mean, that's what
hey,
started this
103
whole-
went down, so that's exactly.
Right.
Okay, and then we have number 43, Melchiori.
Good morning. You've heard all of this before, so I'm not going to say it. Originally, when we first came here, the very first meeting, I compared my unit, which is 129, to unit 21 and 15, which are valued about $8,000, or assessed $8,000 less than mine. That's my comparison. As far as the unit that was sold at 109, that was totally renovated, I believe I had given you information on that unit that I had taken off of the MLS listing that shows you all 3 floors totally redone, and that's why it was sold for $775. And I have one other question. Do walkout basements increase the value of your condo?
It depends, because you're asking me a question that's based on market value, and the market dictates whether that's a valuable
Okay.
amenity or not.
Because we have several units that have walkout basements. Some of us have Bilco doors that if you take that first step down, it's worth your life.
Oh, boy. Well, now that Brandywine's on my radar for the next full reval. We'll just leave it at that.
Okay.
It may or may not matter.
Okay.
Right now, that's not being taken into consideration. There's many condo developments in this town, and just as complex as Brandywine is, could you imagine some of the others, which we've already dealt with South Shore here, and
Yeah,
it's just going
which
to get
I'm
more and
sure
more
thousands of people live in
complicated.
Yep.
So I can't answer that. It's as of the last reval, and it didn't matter at that point, but
It might.
it may.
And how about AZAC decks?
I'm sorry, what was that?
AZAC decks, new decks.
I've mentioned it before, and I'll mention it again. At this time, I could put in a code to rate decks, but it is so minor that it's just not
Okay.
worth our time or efforts collectively as a town. We have a lot of new builds, so those are the things that are going to take up our focus.
Okay.
Now, again, I don't want to invalidate your
I understand.
your opinion of value on a deck. Yes, if we want to go into just talking about a deck, we could have a whole course on the value of decks, right?
Right.
It's very,
Oh, right,
very
right.
complex. At this time, I'm rating a deck as all decks, and not just Brandywine, all of them.
decks or decks?
Yeah, we collectively
Okay.
will do the same. So all of the decks, whether it's a composite, AZEC, or wood, are all being rated as a wood deck. Mahogany, it doesn't, at this
doesn't
point, they're all
matter.
base rated. Correct, and because of that, I'm going to always look at something. I've inherited things that prior assessors have opinions on. And if you get 10 assessors in the room, you're going to get 10 different opinions, right? So
Right.
it's my values now. So when I look at my appeal and I see, hey, an FOP is rated high, it's not really a porch. It's literally, like you said, a step to get into your door. In my opinion, that's going to be, I'm going to rate that low as a wood deck.
Okay.
So that's what all those small abatements, and there's still some, I dealt with the folks that appealed, they got their abatements. Now, I will do the rest for those who haven't appealed and just fix them all, and they'll all be wood decks. Now, I know we mentioned some have just a deck in the front, the back, so you may have more square footage on a deck than
They're all the same.
so then we
It's
may
the
not have
same.
that issue, but just so you
It's
know,
the
moving
same.
forward for the next appeal year, let me know if you catch that, but they should all be
Yeah.
wood decks, not FOPs. But I mean, I really, I was like mining for gold with it. I was really
I know.
trying to, do the best I can to make sure it was correct based on how I saw it. So
Mm-hmm.
that's where we're at today.
That's like my deck in the back says it's bigger because nobody took into account the 40 square foot.
So you did
in
get
the-
an abatement for that. Are you saying we should be addressing it more, or?
It's listed, I have a deck 232 square foot in
Yep.
the back. I don't. It's 192.
Okay, but
But you don't have the
You were
40
given an abatement.
I was,
That's because they put them together.
exactly. You put the front and the back together. It actually looks like I don't have any kind of a front porch. So, and that has been done in more than one unit.
Are you happy
addressed,
with
so-
yours?
I don't care as long as it doesn't cost me any money. If it's the same.
For me, it's tomato,
If it's the
tomato,
same, I'm
because,
easy.
But you were, I'm sorry, I'm very confused. You've been given an abatement, so are you now saying that abatement is not enough and you're asking for more? Or
No, I'm just making a point that it's listed as 232 square foot deck.
Mm-hmm.
It's really 192 in the back and 40 in the front.
Yep, and we've gone over this today.
So, yes, so that's, I
And
just,
you've been given, okay, I'm not,
oh, nothing, I'm done.
In this case, I know I mentioned it earlier because I was specifically talking about your case, but those two units that you mentioned, 15 and 21.
Yeah.
The difference there is just that they're 1 year older, and so that's like kind of the explanation why they're assessed for
Why they're
slightly less. And in one case, there's a difference. One is assessed with the different flooring, so there's like a little
But I
variation
bet you
there.
that flooring is wrong.
Yeah, well, we can keep.
I'm sorry.
I mean, we could probably hire people to just work in that development all year long to get everything right. Yeah, I'll talk to the town manager about a staff member to handle.
Oh, my God. You know,
this, but
while everything looks the same as you go through the neighborhood, go behind closed doors, and it's totally different.
Right.
That's all I'm going to say.
When in the next
We'll catch that during the full reval.
the next full reval is 2020.
2030.
2030. Okay.
When
Wait,
when
I
half
lied.
of the
It's
people are
2026.
gone.
Yeah, we're going to be.
No, that's not right.
We're going to have resigned from the board.
Wow, okay.
But can I just can I ask one question? Ms. Melchior gave I appreciate, you gave a very thorough packet to us of information. And you made one comment in your, where you mentioned how one of the units, I believe, so the units that sold in the development, there's been 3 sales in the development as far as I could identify.
109 is the one that totally was gutted, totally gutted,
Right.
all 3 floors, and everything Brandy knew
So of
was
everything
put
we've
in.
heard, this was an interesting point, and I just wanted to maybe get the assessor's feedback on this. The data points that were used in this development to determine a price per square foot, or unit cost, or value. So if you have one unit in the development that's sold for $770 because it has all these like bells and whistles to it that the assessor hasn't accounted for in their field card, is that the only data point that's used to pinpoint what the value is, or are there other? Because I could understand the concern that you raised in your application. Is everyone being dinged because there's this one really nice unit that sold for a lot that the assessor might not know that it has all these special features?
And there again,
And
Cheryl,
that's
no
a-
permits are taken out. I've
that's a
never
good
seen a
point.
permit in 10 years I've
And I
been
just
there.
want, like, if I could get just some reassurance that there's other data points in the process, because, like, generally speaking, the big picture is you've got sales between 700 and 770,000. Most people are assessed, the average unit is assessed at around 680-ish. So I'm comfortable that no one's like being blown out of the water relative to their market value, just because you do have those sales. And I did notice, like, even 4 or 5 years ago, there were sales for like 400, and like it's been a big jump,
Big jump.
in this development. But I just want to make sure that they're not being extra dinged because of this one sale where there might not be all the facts known about the sale, and that there's more of like a global data set being applied to the condo.
No, there's
units.
other checks and balances. Collective, and I apologize, I don't have my reval book in front of me, but the market component of condos in South Kingstown, I can't remember, there were like 100 sales, or I can't remember what it was, 60, I'd have to go down and look, but not just 2, right? So it's collectively the bird's eye view of all of the sales for condos, and then, yes, it matters, you start as an assessor
Filtering
fine-tuning,
down.
and then I'll start looking at the certain developments, like, is this appropriate for what sales in Brandywine, what sales at Shadow Farm, what sales at Envine, and without, I'm not gonna get into the weeds with the, especially with the statistical, I'm just looking at, collectively, how many sales were there collectively, then I will look at each development and is it reasonable? And it's not up to me personally to be like, oh my gosh, that's a massive jump. Of course I thought that. But collectively as a market, that made sense. And then here we are today. And no one's going to want the increase, of course. It's happening countrywide, right? So that has nothing to do with anyone other than the collective market of condos. And then specifically in Brandywine, there were 2 sales. Now, one of them seemed like, why would that one go at 7 and that one, of course we think these things, but like what happened? So we dig a little deeper, appeals come, and that's part of the process of, I call it mining, right? And then we get there. So now it's on our radar, did we miss something? Clearly we did. So we'll go back at that for year end, and then that's the only time in between revals if there's discovery. Someone comes in, I've even gotten like a letter with no address with just a picture of somebody's basement. People are doing really creative things around here. I can't unsee that. So then the person just gets their bill and they're like, how'd that happen? I'm like, okay, I have a photo of your basement. Who sent that? It gets a
The
little,
whistleblower.
we're trying to not get into ugly town, but these are the things that happen every day in our office, and we're just here to just try to make people understand it. And it is a difficult job for everybody to try to manage how to do this. You can see just in one development, it's like you pull the string on the sweater and the whole
whole thing
sweater
falls
comes
apart.
undone. We can't do that, so it's my job to temper it, right? So reasonability, town, we're good, we're here today. Individually, what's going on, and we're here today. So we're here to respond to your appeal. This is on our radar now, whether how that gets shooken out.
Right.
Will be for year end, 12/31/25. You'll get your bill in July, and then we start the process over again until everyone's happy, and then we have peace on earth.
Don't count on it. Will we be sent reassessment forms in a month, in 6 months?
That only happens during a reval year.
No, I mean like you're going to be looking at all of this. So in a couple of weeks, in a couple of months?
Well, we have until June 15th to certify
Oh.
our roll for year-end
Okay.
12/31/2025. We're like the North Pole. We never
Yeah.
stop, even
Oh,
though
I
one
know.
day matters,
I
which
know.
is that date, 12/31/2025. But
Okay.
we're still cooking. The cake's in the oven. We haven't even formed it in our office to even, we're busy
Yeah.
now than we've ever, and then
Oh,
up
I'm
until June when
sure.
we certify the roll, bills go out.
Yeah.
You could probably go back into Vision and cross-reference, and you probably will see some changes.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you, and thanks, Wendy, for
Yes,
helping with
thank
that.
you. Okay, I think we've gone through all the appeals. Any other discussion? Do we want to, we'll close the public hearing?
I'd make a motion to close the public hearing and then move to the decision-making phase.
We have a motion on the floor by Brad. Any other discussion? Hearing none.
I'll second the motion.
I'm sorry, we have a second. Any other discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Public hearing is closed. Okay. Now what? We're getting there. We're step by step, right?
You may. I believe you have my email, too. Yeah, you just contact me,
Okay.
whatever works for you.
All right.
We'll make it work.
Yeah. What are we doing here, guys? I'm going to look at Brad and ask him that question because he seems
By
to
the
be very
way,
engaged.
we do send decision letters in the mail, so everyone's that appealed, whatever happens now, you're going to get
Should we-
something in
yeah,
writing
maybe we
within the
should
next
adjourn
10
for a
days.
minute
So just let everyone know, sit tight, give us 2 weeks to get letters out. I mean, or you can watch this later, and then there's that, too.
For us. I think David just had to use the restroom, so could we just take like a 2-minute or 3-minute pause?
ready.
Okay, we're back in session. Brad, you have a couple of things you want to bring up?
Yeah, I mean, just in the service of kind of getting us started, maybe towards a decision, in preparation for the meeting, as I said earlier, I kind of laid out all the appeals and then some of the properties that the applicants were citing. And, you know, for where there's discrepancies in people's assessments by a few $1,000s, as I said earlier, in all cases, I could find an explanation for why someone's is $2,000 higher or someone's is $2,000 lower. I mean, they're all within a range, and it has to do with the material costs that are reported on the field card. It has to do with bathroom count potentially. I know there's differences, and then it has to do, you know, there's some differences between the porches and decks that has been talked about, and it's a very small amount. And then there's differences in the cases that were brought up. There's 2 properties that were built in the prior year, so it's like a depreciation issue. So between all of the appeals, I didn't see, and other comps brought to the table, I didn't see anything erroneous that needed correcting in the work that the assessor's done, even though, you know, they swing a few $1,000s in each direction around an average, right? Like that range that I mentioned earlier, they're in the 390s per square foot, basically on an undepreciated per square foot basis. And then you add the issue of in some cases you have the finished basement. So I think we should talk about the finished basement issue, which came up in 2 cases. And I think the only other thing, like the big picture is this started with Ms. Coe's case, where there was an error in one direction that was massive, and then it swung way too far in the other direction, and then it kind of swung back to close to where it wanted to be, but she acknowledged, and this is the big question for us today, she acknowledged she's still assessed slightly too low. And I found, in my research, basically she's depreciated 1 extra %, which is why her assessment is about maybe $8,000 or $9,000 lower than where it should be. I mean, she should be assessed around, you know, 677. She's assessed at 668. The question is, do we make a correction? I don't think we've ever made a correction where we move someone's assessment up. But that's, in my whole array of information that we've been provided, that's the one thing that stands out is her depreciation that's been applied. That's the one thing that stands out. And then, so there's that issue. That's appeal number, whatever that one is, appeal number 18, which is that is ground zero, like case zero in this whole situation. And then, I mean, I think we could discuss the basement in appeal number 41 and briefly for 63. And so those are the things that, I don't know the best order of operations, but that's kind of the things that stand out to me. In most other cases, I don't see any issues other than some of the externalities. These other units in the development that have differences. Like these are things that are kind of outside our consideration. If somebody has unpermitted work, for example, or other improvements inside of their unit that the assessor has not seen, we can't really remedy that at this table. As we've spoken at length about this today. So that's kind of my initial thoughts.
And I appreciate that, Brad. You did a lot of extra work with this, and I think it's good, and I think I have a pretty good understanding and baseline. But I think our first task today is, do we actually raise? Am I correct that she was asking us to do that? And Brad, you're giving evidence where it should be raised?
Yeah, it looks like there's a simple, like a slight error that was applied in the assessor's calculation. Usually, if there's a small error in favor of the property owner, we let it lie. They wouldn't come and bring it to our attention. It will also be something that I imagine will be corrected the next time around. So this is a short-term thing, but I guess I can echo most of the people that spoke today, is that they just want everything to be consistent and fair. So, like, what would be consistent and fair would be to bring hers into equity with the others. Now, I mean, the other remedy would be that we could just take everybody else's and go to 13% across the board, but I think that brings us further from accuracy, further from fairness, especially since we would only be applying it to the 7 cases that we have in front of us, and there's 33 other properties in the development now. So if we make a change like that, then we're going to have another 25 people here next year looking for us to further
I do not think that's the
stray
course of
from
action that I would
accuracy.
support.
Yeah,
I don't know if I should interject or not, but I'm going to go
Please.
for it. So for the appeal number 18 for, how do you pronounce that? Was it Coy? Co? Okay. So clearly there is a discrepancy on the depreciation. I'm just letting you know, I just now went ahead and changed that to a 12 to mimic all of the other 2012 construction, if you want to go in that direction. And it changed it from 6682 to 6758. It goes to 675,800.
Which makes a lot of sense, 'cause that's exactly
And
the
all we did was
si-
match the depreciation, so I just wanted to give you that fun fact, but then you can continue your conversation.
down to 12%.
And does that seem fair to you, Wendy?
It's exactly the same as her neighbor, which is appeal number 6247 Brandywine, Ms. Bushy. So, and they should have the same, that was mentioned, it was the same unit. I mean, that's a very clean fix in service of fairness.
Okay, and that does
accuracy.
make sense to me, but if I'm reading her appeal correctly, she actually wants it even higher.
Even higher than that, yeah. Yep. I think that was, it might have been before some of the others were reduced, potentially, because I know that there was this adjustment made for the porches or the porch factor.
I am confused on the depreciation with the variation here, because I noticed my unit says 11, but my next door neighbor is 12.
Which unit is yours?
I'm number 74 Brandywine.
Alice, I'm not sure if we can talk about your unit
No, I'm not.
because you're recused, but
No, I agree. What I'm saying is
I see what you mean. That's 2013, and you've got 11 depreciation. This may just be a table thing. You guys just tell me what you want to do there. This is just what was in our system, and I gave you the
And it
spreadsheet.
just changed, so I think Vision is working on some stuff in the background.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, that's such a.
Well, that's for
a-
year-end 25. That's something
Yeah,
else.
I'm not trying to say mine. I'm just saying there is a variation here.
Oh, yeah.
which, in the same building, I don't think that one was 11 and one was 12, or one was
I think it really
12.
comes down to, this is where we get into the weeds, where I have to pull all the COs. It's I trust that this was done correctly. I don't mind doing the research, I might, but that's most likely, I mean, we do this every day. Most we don't even need to look, sometimes research things, so we just know. And I can tell you, a lot of the times when it's like the CO is at year-end, it just falls in that. And I don't mind doing the research if you want, but with the 1%, that wouldn't flag something on our end. But you're right, the observation is 100% clear.
All right, as far as Appeal 18 goes, I'm comfortable listening to the applicant and in agreement that we should change her assessment to the 675.8.
Even though she's at, that's a motion on the floor, Ken?
It's about to be, unless you have some discussion that tells
I
me
mean,
that.
make a motion, I'll second it, and we can discuss.
Yeah.
Okay.
If we need to discuss.
Wait, so Ken's got a motion on the floor. Do we have
I second the
We have a
motion.
second. Any discussion? I guess my question is, she is like, you're right, we're gonna give her about $9,000 less than what she's asking for. You know, we're gonna be,
Correct.
yeah, so you're okay with that?
I believe that's just the fair and equitable thing to do based on the information that has been presented to me.
Well, I do agree with that. I mean, we
I
have-
also would not have done that if she did not ask.
But you're right, we have a system, we kind of have a system that we're referring to.
She's being a team player, so I will play ball.
And I think that it also, by aligning everything, it's, you know, the people, when they look at their tax assessments, should kind of understand what it's all about and what the differences might be. And I think that, you know, hers stands out as it sticks out a little bit. And by rectifying it, I think that we help, you know, move us in a direction where people can understand what's going on and they don't feel like other people are getting benefits and other people are being penalized. It moves us in the direction of everyone being treated fairly and with accuracy, as best as we're able to achieve.
And I agree with that
so.
100%, and that's why I put the motion up.
I have nothing else to say. I'm in agreement with what Ken has on the table. Brad, do you have any other
Nope.
comments or discussion?
Nope.
All right, so all those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed, motion passes. Okay, so what else are we doing here now? Are we looking at number 41? Mr. Lay's place? Are we going to go there, or are we just going to?
Maybe we just, if we just take it line, but maybe we have to kind of do it appeal by appeal at this point. And if, just because Mr. and Mrs. Lay they raised the issue of their finished basement. And we talked about it during their appeal. I mentioned just the calculation. I mean, he said it adds $137,000, but that's like I could see how the assessor is doing it, right? There's a cost that's just for having a basement, and then there's the additional premium that's for like having a finished basement. His looks to be about $80,000 premium based on my math compared to some of the other with unfinished basements. That's undepreciated too, so that's not even that's just like a replacement cost at the replacement cost level. And the question is, do we think, you know, for a new finished basement of 800 plus square feet with a bathroom, is $80,000 a reasonable figure? That's kind of just worth bringing up. And I think I'll also note, though, that there was we didn't receive any kind of exhibits about the basement or any information about the level of finish. So it's hard, I think, for us to really dig into this one without knowing what it looks like. So I would be inclined, really, I'd be inclined to kind of leave it as is, just given the lack of additional information about the basement. The only information that was submitted was his building permit, the amount cited on his building permit, which was like $14,000 or something, which doesn't really add up for, you know, almost 900 square foot finished basement with bathroom. That doesn't make sense to me.
That's just the original building permit, doesn't include all the
Right.
You know what I mean?
He did indicate how much he spent on it.
Yeah.
Yes, I have that someplace. I want to say it was 18,000, but he did say that in both meetings.
Right.
I'm not saying he supported it with evidence, but I have no reason not to believe that that's what he spent on it. But what was the year he did that? 13?
I don't have that information in front of me.
Okay, I do have the information here. So he spent $18,000 on the basement, according to what he told us. Not that he provided records of that, but like I said, he has been consistent with that with both meetings at that number, and I don't have any reason to not believe that's accurate.
Yeah, I have that number written down as well.
He does have 3.5 bathrooms, so he has a...
Yeah, I got it right here, too, yeah.
And he's indicating there's about 800 square feet. So is that consistent with, how is the one that has 400 square feet?
The one with, this is DeMichael.
Yes.
I have my Excel up right now. I'm just kind of like, just for purposes of comparison. Because they have, and this is like, Yeah, it's hard because for us, one might affect the other. Looks like they have about a $35,000, roughly $35,000 premium applied for their 400 square foot basement. So they're consistent with each other on a per square foot basis, the basement. So I imagine that the assessor has some sort of allocation for finished basement that is applied in cases like this. Because they're at, yeah, I can see it on the field card. It's around $157 a square foot for the finished.
50% less than, it's half of what upper story.
Right. Because we're talking,
Space, but it's in the base.
right, we're talking both contributory value and construction
That's
cost.
consistent with what you would do with the other ones or any other unit anywhere else. Okay, all right, so that's consistent. So there's nothing out of the ordinary, there's nothing, okay, all right.
Tables are the tables.
Yep. Okay. So based on that information, I'm not seeing anything that proves it should be reduced based on the town's information and what you're supplying.
Absolutely. And I realize I'm talking in cost terms, but it's true. What it actually contributes to the value might be greater than what it costs to construct. I'm an appraiser. I should be able to speak to that right now. But it's possible that a 900 square foot finished basement with bathroom contributes more than the cost to install it. That makes sense. And 80% or $80,000, like, maybe 10% adjustment upward for this amount of space doesn't sound. Yeah, it sounds reasonable.
Yeah, when I look at the square foot, cost for something like that, the 80,000 on 800 square feet with a bathroom, in today's world or today's prices is very reasonable.
And 80,000 is new, so if you depreciate
Yeah.
that, it's really contributing like 68,000 to
Yeah.
the assessment. So it's really like less than 10%.
For this reval, the first thing I did was sit down with the project manager, and we went through every single cost table, all the, everything, pools, you name it. It was painstaking, but I thought that was a good start point, so I feel very confident with the very conservative pricing that we have in the entire town.
So the fact that there's nothing out of whack,
Yeah.
and there was no evidence that shows it was out of whack, I would make a motion that we deny the applicant's request.
I second the motion.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor, we have a second, is there any other? We have a motion on the floor, we have a second, is there any other discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. So
And
we're
when we're making the motions, if, I know historically, if it's been a denial, we'll usually state a reason. If we could just, if we're going to start with Appeal
Yeah.
41 all the way down to Appeal 43, if we could say denied due to, that would be great. And then when I send the denial or approval letter to the appellant, they'll know why. Because a lot of times if it's just a denial, they will call and ask.
Well, I
but-
think Ken did mention
Oh,
it, so
did
you
he?
just,
I'm sorry.
but you
I didn't
probably to
have
be
my
clear,
granola
Ken,
bar.
if you could just repeat what,
The reason
Thank
was
you.
no sufficient evidence by the applicant to suggest that number was skewed in any way, and
Thank
it
you,
does
I
seem to be
appreciate it.
consistent with the town and the other units. So the fact that there was nothing else outside of that to show me, no evidence.
Thank
so
you.
That is the reason.
I appreciate it.
okay, so just to be clear, we're going to go through each one of these and make a decision on each one individually, yeah.
It was very complex, the response, but just if you're moving forward, that's all I'm saying. If it does have to be that complex, but due to X, Y, Z. Thank you.
Okay, we have appeal number 62, Bushy, Robert and Mary.
Yep.
They were not here, I believe.
Wendy, with this appeal, they were not here. Do you have any information that we should be made aware of? Because without any,
Other than what was supplied in the packets, I do not. They did receive an abatement of $65.26 for a value of $7,300, and that was due to, what did I do? That was due to changing the FOP, the porch to the wood deck. I see that, yeah.
Yep, I see
So
that.
no,
But they're
I
looking
don't.
for a change down to 600.
Correct.
No.
And Brad, based on your spreadsheets, I think I know the answer, but
Well, you know, and I also noticed in there, just looking at their application, they mentioned corrections would be needed for the flooring material, and it looks like that's been applied on the field card.
I did that as well. I'm sorry. That credit, that was really high for wood deck. So on the letter that the town supplied for their approval of the appeal, I told them that we updated the flooring and changed the FOP, and that was the amount of the credit.
So they had three bases for seeking a reduction, and one of those was this issue with the discrepancy in flooring, which appears to have been addressed already for us. And so the other basis is overvaluation and disproportionate assessment. And I'll say, and I can make a motion to this, but we would not receive any evidence of overassessment or overvaluation. And I don't see any evidence of they appear to be proportionally assessed compared to similar units in the development. So I would make a motion to deny the appeal based on lack of evidence of overassessment and lack of evidence of disproportionate assessment.
We have a motion on the floor. Do we have a second?
I will second the motion.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion passes. Next one is 63, D. Michelle Family Living Trust.
And they were not here. I do know that Kathy spoke on their behalf. But again, I will do this on every single one, Brad. But as far as what the homework you did and the depreciation, does this stand in line with that information?
Yeah, it's kind of the same. The only difference with this one is that they've got the issue of their basement, the basement finish, that was kind of brought up over the course of these hearings. They didn't actually mention that or provide evidence of that in their application. So I don't think we can act on that based on what we have. I don't think we have evidence that would cause us to change the assessment of their finished basement. I think we directed, in our conversation in the hearing, we directed them to discuss that with the assessor or come back to us next year with that. So nothing on the basement, no evidence that they're overvalued. In fact, they're assessed at $700,000 and $100,000, and they purchased the property for $700,000. So they're spot on with market value, and they're proportionally assessed to their neighbors with consideration for their finish. It's a little bit higher, but that's because they have this finished basement.
Okay, because I notice it's higher, so as long as there's an explanation and it kind of lines up, then...
Yeah. In fact, they're $100 higher than their sale price in 2024, but if you look at the other sales that have occurred since then, it goes from $700 to $750 to $770. So we can assume that that extra $100 might just be due to the market conditions trending. So I'm comfortable from a market value standpoint. I'm comfortable from a proportional assessment standpoint. And the basement, we would need evidence for, and that may be supplied at a future date.
No evidence. Okay. Ken, are you making a motion?
I will make a motion to deny this request.
We have a motion on the floor to deny the request for number 63. Is there a second?
A second.
We have a second. Any other discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed? Motion passes.
Do you have the information you need on that one? Okay.
Number 42, DeSano. They were not here either, I believe.
Yep, not present.
So, not present. So, and I believe, was it, I'm sorry, it was Mrs. Coe, she did speak on their behalf, correct? It was pretty much the same. No, she didn't? Okay.
Yeah, this is the same for me as the others. The twist with this one is it's one of the cases that has a little bit attributed to the open finished porch and a little bit attributed to the wood deck. So there's this like porch deck issue in this case where it's kind of bifurcated. And it looks like as a result of that, it's like they're like on a little bit on the upper end of what the assessment is compared to the others. And I don't really have an explanation for that. Because that puts them at 683,100 compared to their neighbors at 682,200. And I think that's because of the porch, the way the porch and the deck are calculated in that case. Is that something, are you looking into that, Wendy, or is that like
Hold on, I've just got I don't have the information in
Yeah.
front of me. Can I borrow that folder back for a minute, and then I'll... Thank you. All right, let's look at this. 42.
Yeah, there's a few cases where the porch is 40 square feet and the deck is 192, and other cases where they look like they've been combined.
Yeah, it's the same rate. I think that's what Barbara Ann was trying to say, and that's just the different data, people out in the field with vision, maybe some have more expertise, maybe some try a little harder, so they'll do a box with square footage collectively for wood decks and just move on, versus another data entry might split them up, but at the end, it's still the same square, footage, so, we can go and fix that, but, that's all across town, that's a lot.
Not to belabor it, because I'm like super in the weeds for where we typically are, but it looks like, and I could be wrong, but that open porch is assessed at $64 a square foot, and the wood deck at $31 a square foot.
That's correct.
So if you combine them at 31, then their assessment would go down. I just want to,
Originally, we had 3 full bathrooms, and then we corrected it to 2.5. So that was one correction.
Did you change the FOP? You didn't change the FOP?
No, not yet, no.
Not yet. So when we change the FOP to the wood deck, it'll bring it
No,
down.
this wood deck is done, 192. There's no FOP, so that was actually,
This is the after.
yeah, the before card also had it as a wood deck. Oh, no, FOP, there it
This
is.
is the FOP.
Oh, whoops. Okay.
Change it.
Well, we'll change it. Well, that's why I'm
Is
going to
this-
collectively
yeah.
go through when we're done.
Understood.
For year end, go through all the field cards, because this is like
okay.
I touched it, so now here we are.
Yeah,
Like, maybe I shouldn't have.
because that's the same thing.
This is fine.
I'm looking at it and I'm like, what do we do?
You're
about
not going to
this?
do anything. Hey, you do what you want, but I'm saying that from the assessment for year end for 12/31/2025, I'm going to run a report on and then every single field card will have them all corrected to wood decks. So
Because
that's
Mr.
still
Lay,
happening.
Appeal 41, I now see also has this FOP. It just was a little beyond my expertise is figuring that out.
Yeah.
But if we can move on it, and then with the understanding that your office is going to
Yeah,
clean it up, so it's
absolutely.
possible.
If you want to make a motion to do that,
Yeah.
I think that might be a safe bet, but I'm going to do that anyway,
Great.
regardless.
Maybe
For
it-
everybody, even the ones that didn't appeal.
Thank you for that. We're really getting into it. Like we're really getting deep into your work. So, and I'm glad I saw that. What I would make a motion for is to deny the appeal based on lack of evidence of over assessment or disproportionate assessment, with the understanding that the assessor's office will address corrections to the wood deck and open porch allocations on the field card.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor. Is there a second?
I'll second the motion.
We have a second. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion passes. Number 44, knee.
Yeah, the evidence submitted here was essentially to cite Ms. Coe's case, Unit 103. So I think this is one of the cases where the change that was made to one unit kind of triggered an interest in making an appeal. But otherwise, I don't think any other evidence was submitted in this case. No other issues were raised, other than kind of the being out of whack with Ms. Coe's unit and the other.
So is that a motion?
Yeah, no, I'd make a motion to deny the appeal based on lack of evidence of overvaluation or disproportionate valuation.
I'll second that. Do we have any other discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed, motion passes. Number 47, Barrett. Did anybody represent the Barretts here? I don't think they did they?
They were not present, but Kathleen said that it was the same exact argument/discussion as what appeal number 44 would have said. I believe that was quote unquote.
Exactly, and on their application, they are also citing 103 Brandywine Court as that's their evidence. Barrett is assessed at $682,200, which is the same as Ms. Nee, 59. And it looks like they've already benefited from this FOP wood deck adjustment. So in many of these cases, there's already been a slight correction already made previously. This is the same to me as the previous number, Appeal 44. I would make a motion. I don't see anything new here. I would make a motion to deny the appeal. They're based on lack of evidence.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor. I will second the motion. Do we have any other discussion?
No.
Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
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 Those opposed, motion passes. Number 43, Melchiori.
Ms. Melchiori submitted a lot of information, which we kind of went through in her hearing. You know, one of the cases that she made was two comparable units that were assessed for lower, that were similar to hers, and we determined, I think, that those units had a higher depreciation rate applied because of the year built is 1 year earlier. And we were able to explain that to her during the hearing. The other concerns, this echoed some of the concerns from homeowners in this neighborhood, that there are other units in the development where improvements have been made that are not accounted for on the field card. So there's concerns there that we're not going to be able to address here at this table, but we did hear her concerns about fairness that were echoed by a number of folks that came before us. And the only other, she made a good point about the sale in the neighborhood and expressed a concern that was inflated because of interior improvements that were made that did not appear on the field card, and wondered whether this might be skewing values up in the neighborhood. And we addressed that during the hearing as well. I think Wendy kind of gave an overview of how the benefit of mass appraisal is that you don't just have one data point, but you have dozens, or in some cases hundreds of data points. So no one data point is going to, skew the field out of whack. And again, the sales that we have from the last couple of years are all above 700,000. And in most of these assessments, if they don't have a finished basement or whatever, are assessed for, in around 680, 675, 685. So I don't think we see any evidence that that one sale is pulling values in the wrong direction. And I brought that up because I just want to address that concern that she raised directly. Otherwise, it's a very similar appeal to the others.
Is that a motion?
I would make a motion to deny the appeal based on lack of evidence of overvaluation and lack of evidence of disproportionate assessment.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor. Do we have a second?
I'll second the motion.
And we have a second. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed, motion passes. Compliment you on all your due diligence and homework, Brad. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I mean, I think just in conclusion, I hope that the folks that came before us in that neighborhood can see that we're trying to take their concerns seriously and, and address them seriously in good faith. So yeah, thank you to everybody for your help, and thanks to the assessor's office for helping give us the information we needed to make the decisions.
Okay. Is there anything else before I entertain a motion to close the meeting?
I just want to double check because item number 7, set date for following meeting, which we do already have a meeting for next Wednesday, if I'm not mistaken, on the 21st.
Correct.
Do we want to establish a quorum at this time? Because I believe Mr. Monroe may not be there, so.
Available hours, because I don't think I can make it.
Yeah,
We talked about the 20th or the 21st?
the 21st, so Wednesday, 9:30 a.m.
21st at 9:30,
Does that work for?
which is Wednesday of next week.
You, okay, so as long as we have a quorum, I mean, obviously, God willing, and if the creek don't rise, if there's an illness, we'll deal with, an emergency, but at this time, as long as there's 3, that's a quorum, and we can run that meeting on the 21st.
It's on the 20th, so I actually had it wrong in my calendar too.
Oh, maybe I'm
No,
wrong.
if 21st, I'm available as well.
I think something happened where it was going to be the 20th, I don't know, but it ended up working out because we wouldn't have had the room otherwise. So if the 21st works, it's still a draft agenda, we have time to change it, but just if we could have that discussion now that it is on the 21st at that time and we have a quorum. If not, then that's a different discussion is all. What do you guys have?
Yep, I'm here.
Yeah.
I'll be here.
I will be here.
Do we want to set another meeting date ahead of, I am getting people asking questions, we can do that today, or we can do it on the 21st, that's up to.
I would
y'all.
prefer, since we have everybody here.
Okay.
And Ken is here, I would prefer that we set up another date.
I agree. It's easier for us to kind of give people some advice as to when, rather than to be determined.
This would be a meeting for subsequent,
Yeah, I would say one more. The draft agenda for the 21st, let me pull that up, actually, I'll let you know, it's full.
yeah, there's some 15 properties on that, including
Yeah.
old business.
Yeah, let me just pull up that agenda.
We'll be lucky to
I
get
can actually
through
put the agenda
all of
up
that.
on the
I-
screen in a minute, and then you can decide if you want to do that or not.
No, that has the look of a 3+ hour meeting.
Yeah.
So we're going to have based on our previous meetings, we'll
All
probably
right,
have
so I've got the
overflow.
agenda up on the screen there. So this is the draft agenda right now for the 21st, if you look up to one of these screens here. So we've got new business. Those first appeals, 32, 33, and 34, are the same appellant. I believe they will be in attendance. They should have actually probably been here back in October, but just scheduling conflicts and illnesses and et cetera. So those 3. So that's your new business here, and these last 3 are customs. I have to I was out last week, and when I was checking my emails, I'm not sure if they're going to actually make it to the final agenda. So that's your new business. This is like the most you would have. You may have a couple fall off, but that's what we have right now. And then old business, you've got, you had mentioned you wanted me to add the CITUS to the upcoming agenda, so I did that, Mr. Monroe. That was your request. So
Very
you can
helpful.
see kind of collectively, you've got 2 Roys, 3 Marys, and then this is continuing business for the vacant lot, and then it looks like there's that 1 custom. So, yeah, so. I don't believe so, but I have been in correspondence with appeal number 30, Cody, they're away, so we've been going back and forth. She'll draft something in writing for you all. And I haven't, and as far as Lewis, I believe they can't make it either. I think a lot of people are out of the state snowbirding. So I'm not sure exactly where we're going to actually fall, but this is what our draft agenda looks like right now for the 21st.
And the only concern
So I
I'd
can load it more a little bit, or we can, I think
this
it's
is
a lot.
and
yeah.
I think the only issue I might raise now is that
Yeah,
there's
let me know.
we've been so involved in that last one, the vacant lot,
Mm-hmm.
that if we're missing a board member for that meeting, I don't know if we'd want to just.
He's actually not, this, I just remembered, yeah, he fell off yesterday, he can't make this, so when I do this, he won't be in attendance now that I remember it, I'm
Yeah, I'd
sorry.
rather decision that when we have a full
Yeah,
board.
that's not gonna be on the
I don't remember
agenda for the
65
21st.
Inglenook, and I know the other ones we've just been kind of like deferring till we get the group of them together.
Yeah,
So-
yeah, I believe you're gonna, from my understanding, you wanted to hear all the customs and kind of do what you did with Brandywine at some point. And there, we've responded to all our appeals. There's maybe 15 more in the queue. And probably half of them are customs. So you're gonna have one last custom meeting, most likely. Yeah. So if you want, this is what we have for the 21st, and then just roll it out. Okay. All right, well, that's the 21st, so moving forward, if you want to we can just keep going, 28th, the 4th, 11th. I mean, the sooner we get them going, the sooner we wrap up our season, so I'll leave that up to you. I would prefer to go to the first week in February because I've got a lot of stuff going on with council, homestead and stuff, so I'm on my bandwidth for the next 2 weeks is pretty tight.
Yeah, I remember that. So, say again,
I'm sorry, I would prefer to not go right into like the 28th, like the last week in January, because I have a lot going on. Yeah, so if we could kind of come up for air, maybe the 4th, the 11th, 18th, or 3rd, 10th, somewhere in that range maybe.
those
would be-
those first 2 weeks of February would work well for me.
Okay,
I would prefer a Wednesday.
okay.
Mhm.
You know, that's my best day.
I have to agree with you. Tuesday, I'm on vacation for a week and I come in, I'll tell you yesterday and then today, I was,
So I
you could see it was a little rough.
I have a conflict on the Wednesday morning on the 4th, unfortunately, but I am available Wednesday morning, the 11th.
You should be good for that. I should
Oh,
be
yeah?
good to give my wife a couple weeks, so hopefully I
Awesome.
can be here for a little bit. I can't promise it at this point, but
Hey, like I said, if the creek don't rise and God willing, so.
it's better than the 4th or anything like that, so.
All right, so it sounds like 10, that would work really well for me too, just saying. So, yeah, Wednesday, the 11th, if that's good with everybody. And 9:30, I think, gives us a little time by the time we get in the door at 8:30 to set the room up and et cetera, so. How does that look? February 11th at 9:30, want to tentatively set a draft agenda, and then I can work on what that looks like too, and then we can have that discussion like we did to see if that
So
works.
we'll be getting a new packet then for this
Oh,
this
yeah, yeah,
upcoming
yeah.
meeting?
Just, you can get rid of all, that's up to you what you want to do with these, but clean slate and you'll get new packets for the new business. Now, the old business, if you'd like, I can remake packets, or if you have them, let me know, but.
I will review what I've got in my files, and if there's any gaps, I'll let you
Okay.
know.
Yeah,
and
well,
we can
I'll
get-
send an email and we'll coordinate. Maybe you're just like, hey, I'm missing number 15 for whatever
Sometimes
reason,
it's
or
just, yeah, it might even just be the cover sheet with their application is, but I'll let you know.
I mean, we
Don't-
can talk
Don't print any more
about-
paper with.
I know, it's a lot. I'm trying to come up with ways that maybe make more sense, especially what we could see it was little holes, just cheesy for paperwork for this session. Moving forward for old business, I mean, would it make more sense if we made like a PDF and then emailed it, so at least you have that at home, and then you have the packets here and I keep them so that I don't know, you think about it, let that marinate, but is it easier for me to have the packets here so that you have them in order in front of you so you don't have to sit for an hour on your, and do that? I'd be happy to try to organize this better. I'm just not sure what the answer is.
I'll think about it,
Yeah,
because
let it
I
marinate.
do
You tell
find
us. We'll
sitting
do
here
what we need
flipping
to
through
do.
papers a little
It's a
bit of a burden, and now that I've tried to use my laptop, that's actually been, so maybe working with PDFs might help me.
For
I
some of
don't
the, yeah, it's up to you, rather than you come in and pick them up, maybe just scanning them individually and emailing. I don't know, some people like email, some people like
I'll think
paper.
about it, save the
Yeah,
town
just
some
think
printing
about it.
costs.
Or at least just for old business, you know, and then new business, you get new packets. Just tell me. Yeah, that's fine. I'm willing to do either or, because I have the paper, I can scan it, send an email to Mr. Hefner, and then just give you the paper. I don't care. Okay. All right, well, all that being said then, so,
Eaglewood and Turner being the old business, correct? Eaglewood and Turner, the only old business?
No, we have 1, 2, 3, we got 5 other ones.
Those other ones, and those are the cottages.
if you want to
that-
knock out the cottages, technically, yes, this is all your old business right now. Most of them was Brandywine. You did a good job cleaning
Are
up
there
some of the
other
old
are
business.
there other cottage? I just want to make sure.
There's not a lot.
Other cottages coming?
You know what, let me look.
Yeah, we kind of, on all those cases, I don't think we had anyone testify. Maybe in one case we did, well, review. But I think we kind of just kept pushing them off because, so
I'll
we
tell
could
you right
decision
now,
them all
let's see.
together, or on the same day at least.
Yeah, there was.
Okay, so we have these, so right now, we have them for next Wednesday, the 21st, at 9:30. We have those scheduled right now for February 11th, Wednesday, at 9:30.
Got it.
I like even 9:30, by the way.
I agree with you. That gives us time to get set up here, too. Mr. Hefner, just to answer your question, I don't see any more cottages coming through,
Good.
so.
That's good to know, yeah.
So I'll let you know on the 21st, if there is, then that way maybe you could even deal with those on the 21st. So, for now, no, I can't recall what letters
We'll
went
try
out.
to take care as much as we
I
can.
hear you. Same. All right.
Any other discussion?
I make a motion to adjourn, I
We
think.
have a motion on the floor to adjourn. Any other discussion?
Aye.
Those